What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel, and if you guys are new, welcome. Happy TWAB Day, everybody. And as you can see, we have another ARC 3.0 build for y'all, going over an ad clear machine for our ARC 3.0 Hunter with skip grenades and Shinobi's Vow exotic gauntlets. Now, these were basically only used in PvP for me, just because they never really had a utilization inside of the PvE realm. Now, with the changes and ARC 3.0, this is a super fun build for taking it in with that massive ad clear, especially how we have it set up with the weapons and aspects and mods on our armor. So getting into the abilities, aspects, and fragments, first off, we're going to be running the new Super Gathering Storm just to switch it up from the old Arc Staff, but love the new Super. Definitely my favorite change to the Hunter here. Now for me, I'm going with Marksman Dodge, my triple jump, as well as Disorienting Blow, so we can become amplified and we blind those nearby enemies. And then obviously we're using skip grenades because of our exotic Shinobi's Vow. Now for our two aspects, we're going to be using flow state, so defeating those jolted targets makes us amplified as well. Our dodge is going to recharge more quickly, which is super great because of the way we have our stats staggered here. Now over in our second column, we're going with the lethal current aspect. So after dodging, our next melee has an increased launch range, jolts the target again, which is important for creating that amplification for us, and then also damaging those jolted targets with melee attacks also blinds them. So just another synergy of jolting and blinding targets with this build just by a melee punch. Now the fragments that help this build out as well, we're going with Spark of Recharge, so when we do get critically wounded, we're getting our melee and our grenade back even faster, and we're going to be able to spam grenades with this build super fast. Next off, we have Spark of Shock, so our arc grenades also jolt targets. Even though it is minus 10 discipline, we are using this to jolt our targets to make ourselves amplified and continue to proc flow state as well as lethal current. Next off right here, Spark of Ions, super important for that jolted targets, which I was talking about before. Those are going to help us create ionic traces, which will in turn give us back our arc ability energy, letting us spam even more skip grenades. Last but not least, we're going Spark of Feedback for that plus 10 resilience on this build, and if we do happen to take that melee damage, this is almost a little buggy in its application. It doesn't get procced too easily, but when it does, it's super nice and you can definitely notice that melee damage that comes out. Now moving on to weapons here, we will mainly be using our Ikelos SMG as it is an arc, and we're going to be using that for one of our mods, as you will see on our class item. But first off, we're going to be using the Deliverance Fusion Rifle from the Vow of the Disciple raid, also with Demolitionist on it to allow us to get our grenade energy back even faster when we get defeats with this weapon. You can use it on some of those majors and a little bit stronger enemies instead of having to use our Ikelos here. But this Ikelos is super cracked in my opinion with Subsistence and Demolitionist. Awesome for never having to reload, as well as every time we get a defeat again with Demolitionist, we're getting our grenade energy back with our skip nades, and this is super key for the build since we're going to be using this arc weapon mainly. And then on top of that, we're pulling out the Thunderlord, which has brought in a new love for this weapon this season with the catalyst and the changes to arc 3.0, causing that nice little chain of lightning effects. This is for our bosses and just that little extra synergy for arc 3.0. For our stats and armor mods that we got going on over here, we're running our 100 discipline for that double grenade to recharge super fast and skip grenades. Now on our helmet here, we're going to have arc siphon, so every time we get those defeats with our Thunderlord as well as our Ikelos SMG, we're going to drop some nice orbs of power for us, as well as powerful friends, which just help us put this armor piece all the way up to 108. Now on our Shinobu's Vow here with the exotic gauntlet, gauntlets, it has improved skip grenades. You also have an additional skip grenade charge. Super, super nice for this build. Also, we gain grenade energy back when we damage enemies, so in turn, intrinsically, this is going to give us back our skip nades when we do damage with those skip grenades, so it's a grenade spam build all over the place, jolting those targets, creating ionic traces. Very fun build. On top of that, we're going to have elemental ordnance, which we're actually going to have 3 of them on. So we're going to create a bunch of arc elemental wells when we get defeats with our grenades. We're also running 2 bolstering detonations, so we gain class ability energy when doing damage with our grenade, hence why I took a little hit on the mobility at 88. Onto the chest piece here, we're going to have our solar arc and void damage resistance, so we can help us stay alive in those sticky situations, taking it into some more end game content instead of just going through lost sectors or whatever you're just doing for fun, with our second elemental ordnance, which again helps us create those arc elemental wells on grenade defeats. On our boots here is going to be our 3rd elemental ordnance, which we are able to stack because of a mod that we have on our class item, but we also have machine gun scavenger for our nice Thunderlord, as well as fusion rifle holster for our deliverance. And the reason that we're able to stack 3 different sets of elemental ordnance on our arm, chest, and legs is because of bountiful wells on our class item here. Now, on top of that, we have an artifact mod from this season, which is Lightning Strikes Twice. After throwing an arc grenade, gain increased grenade energy for a short time. Arc Final Blows extend the duration of this benefit. This is why we are throwing on the Ikelos SMG, because every single time we get a defeat with this weapon, it keeps proccing Lightning Strikes Twice, basically for an entire lost sector. I never had that below about 5 seconds, because when you get that defeat, it goes all the way back up to 20 seconds on that regen time. So it is super easy to keep Lightning Strikes Twice procced at all times, just allowing us again with that synergy to create arc grenades everywhere, allowing us to chain them together, jolting our targets, creating our ionic traces. So it's an insane synergy build for arc ability spam and some crazy ad clear potential, and even taking it into that end game content. Like I said, you have your Thunderlord, which is super good at stunning our champions, as well as just that ad management, which is what this build kind of would be in a situation in that end game, in my opinion. Or if you're going through something like Gambit or trying to just blow through the strike playlist, throw this bad boy on when it's arc burn, and you're just able to rip through any wave of enemy that comes at you with the unlimited skip grenades that we're gonna have here. So hopefully y'all like this build. Super fun in my personal opinion. I know I say that about a lot of my builds, but that's why I make them, because I would use them in game as well, not just for the fun of it and making videos. I actually love to use a lot of these builds inside of the game. I just have a lot of them, so it's hard to pick and choose which one I'm using. Definitely activity based, as well as burns for the day, etc. So thank you guys again for that crazy support. I love making this content for you guys. We got a lot more builds coming out here over the next week or 2, so make sure to look out for those. So thank you all again. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.